Personally, I did not perform well, and that's not necessarily the bother for me. I mean, yeah, I'm bothered by it, but the problem more so is that I've always just wanted, since the pandemic, I've always just wanted to boost up the scene for Tekken. Like when I started traveling and competing in Tekken in 2018, we didn't really have much of a scene. We didn't. Just keep it a buck. Like, yes, Oni and Clutch were there, but like they were more casual than what they are presently. And I kind of was I was one of the only Tekken players that was traveling like 2018, like traveling and going to compete. I'm going to Cincinnati. I'm going to what is it, Louisville. I'm going to Chicago. I went to Detroit. You know, like I was the only indie representative at a lot of these events for Tekken specifically. So yeah, so when the pandemic slowed me down, I wanted to just make the scene stronger. There's a saying that is somewhat true that says you are only strongest as your weakest link, right? In regards of a team. And since I'm from a place, Indy, I am a part of the indie team, whether I want to be or not. So it would just hyper benefit me unless I could separate myself from indie. And the way that I would do that is often what I say in regards to Dual Kevin. Dual Kevin, if you do or do not know, is a Street Fighter player. I believe he's like top 10, top 20 in Street Fighter. He's a bad dude. He's a bad dude. I've been knowing him for a long time, since the Marvel 3 days, you know, hitting him with the eat lip, eat lip, him hitting me with the pineapple surprise and stuff like that. If you know, you know. But yeah, I've been knowing him since then, and his strategy was to just go to where the strongest people were, and the strongest people were in Chicago. So he spun a lot of trips going to Chicago for Marvel, a lot of trips going to Chicago for Street Fighter, grinding, and he did not turn indie, where he's from, necessarily into a place with very strong Street Fighter players, right? And that's not entirely his fault, right? Because there has to be people willing to work and sacrifice time to get great at the game, right? So not entirely his fault, right? But his focus on himself, you know, his focus on himself getting better ended up being higher than his concern of the people around him getting stronger. So he just went to the people and got strong. And that is basically a way to do it. But unfortunately, what that means is that if anybody from out of town comes to Indy, they, you know, i.e. Squall, or, you know, somebody that, you know, i.e. Squall, or, you know, maybe somebody else, like, it makes it so that there's no other, like, there's some competition to be had, but it's not a lot of resistance. It's not a lot of resistance. And I'm not critiquing Dual Kevin, right? I fuck with Dual Kevin. That's the homie. You know, I fuck with Dual Kevin. That's the homie. It's just that I see what he did, and I was at a point to be able to do what he did, and I chose to give myself and more of my time to my city, you know? So in this 3v3, I have already had success. I have already had, you know, Indy cheering me on while I'm in Pennsylvania for Summer Jam, or I'm in Tennessee for an event, or Atlanta. I've already, you know, I'm at Combo Breaker fighting. I've already had that, the feeling of that, and like the success, you know, the success and the failure of that. So losing, you know, doesn't necessarily bother me in regards of me being dependent on to be able to win or lose, right? Oh yeah, I'm glad about that, Corner. I'm glad you got recognized and people want to talk to you, man, because people be hearing about you and they think you're cool and awesome. So of course they're trying to talk to you. Mm-hmm. But where am I going with this? I'm saying that in 2018, that was when I wanted to beat the best players that I could, you know? in Tekken. 2018, that was an aspiration. It was a desire. It was a passion. And I led my life with it. Right? And the reality of that is that I beat Magnificent. I beat L Train. I beat Spirogen. You know, I beat these players, and these are world-class players for North America, right? So I did fight Knee. I lost to Knee. I did fight Book. I lost to Book. I did fight Shadow. I lost to Shadow. I did fight Cuddlecore. Lost to Cuddlecore. So I honestly, I did somewhat positively in that aspiration. But the reality is that I was playing 18 hours, minimum 18 to 36 hours a week. And I was studying and I was match reviewing and I was drilling very consistently. One day off, 18 hours to 36 hours, which means it was a minimum of 3 hours up to 6 hours is what that means, right? And that's how I ended up getting strong. That's how I ended up getting to, I don't know, Super Saiyan God level or whatever you want to call it, right? Or whatever you want to call it. Now, fast forward to the pandemic, it slowed me down. I couldn't go to tournaments. I did not like online. Online Tekken is not consistent and it does not give the same feels. I beat people that I did not feel good about beating online in tournaments for money. Like I just, I did and I just did not relish in the victory like I did offline. So I ended up deciding to truly give myself to the scene around that time. And we have a few people to bring up that I did that to. Now, let's see. What did you say, Corner? You were there to support you guys, but you guys were wanting to talk to you. It felt good. Yeah. I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad, people spoke to you and stuff, man. Did I think I had any natural talent for Tekken, or is it all from hard work? I believe that is a little, I don't know. I don't really know if I believe in talent. I'm not sure, because I don't really feel like I've done good at something that I did not work hard at. Like I worked hard at boxing, so that's why my movement got really good and I was hard to hit. And, as a teenager, I'm talking back in my younger days. So, and with Tekken, I was buns at Tekken. I thought that I was okay at it, but I was terrible at Tekken, and I, maybe I'm above average right now, realistically speaking. I'm above average at Tekken now, but no, it's all from the time that I've put in. The staying consistent, the practice, the punishing, the study. Oh, this frame is that frame. Oh, this is minus 13. This is launch punishable. Oh, this is a strat that this character has. That's a strat that character has. This is something that my character can do. Learning about it and applying the knowledge and dealing with the knowledge in the game, and just putting in so much time. Like if we look at my Steam for Tekken, keep in mind I played PS4, and there's not really going to be a way to track how many hours I have on my PS4. But if we just go right here to the library and look at my, what is it, Tekken 7? Look at this. 2,500 hours, right? Tekken 8, 1,400 hours. Now, there's offline time and there's PS4 time. I've put in my 10,000 hours. I know that for a fact. Like, with the offline time that I put in, with all the soap dojos and the level up gatherings and the tournaments and my PlayStation time, I've made it to 10,000, like without a doubt in my mind, right? So I know this is only, 3,000? Yeah, this is 4,000. This is only 4,000 hours, right? But I know with all that extra time that I'm talking about, and especially I played PlayStation, a year and a half before I got a PC. So yeah, I'm very certain. But anyway, back to where I want to go with this is that I, was giving myself to a specific number of players. First off, more so being Javo. Javo was a new player, our Gen player. He got really solid, and he ended up quitting due to burnout. Right? So there's that. Jose, I put a lot of time into him. He got addicted to Taunt Upper, and that began for him to want to get good so he could use Taunt Upper, on people. And so he would play me a bunch, whatever. And he's still around. He's still around doing great. And he's just stayed consistent, and he's had very steady growth, right? So there's him. There's Lil Soap. Lil Soap was the quintessential casual player that like played casually a bunch with their friends and did solid against most of them and wanted to get better, like actually get better, and slowly but surely we got Soap out of repeating so many things. We got Soap out of doing so many launch punishable lows with Xiao Yu, Soap plays Xiao Yu, and we got Soap to be a pretty solid person. And he has the same thing with Jose, just being very steady, very steady with his time and efforts, and very steady with his time and efforts, and growing just through that. He's still around as well. Master Spreader was another player that he initially apparently just really wanted to beat me, and he was around for like maybe a year year and a half or so before he could end up making that happen. And he, sometime a little after the pandemic, he ended up having separate ambition. And that separate ambition took him away. So he doesn't really play. He quit as well, but it's due to the ambition that he wanted, right? So there's him. And then Elite Clutch and Oni, I'm not taking credit for necessarily at all. I just want to state that I've noticed, like, I tried to make them better at the matchup. Like, I played them with the intention of it. Like, I didn't play them like to beat them. I played them with the intention for them to get better against Hwoarang, and just better at Tekken as a whole. They already have a teacher and like people that they rely on for getting better. So like I'm not at all taking credit for them. They're more like rivals, or brotherly rivals, than they are like people that I've like intentionally helped train. Even if I did intentionally help like with some things in regards to how they view Tekken and how, in their decisions and stuff like that. And they've gotten better. I believe Clutch with study and game time. He's amped up his game time and his study time, and he's grown from that for sure. He's still around, and he's our best player today, in my opinion. And Oni as well. Oni's just been extremely consistent, and just had like steady growth the entire time. Similar to Jose and Soap as well. But also Oni does lab pretty heavy too. So his lab time and his consistency are, I believe, the reasons for his growth. I'm saying all of this to say that I know I have other people that I have helped and that I train. But what I'm saying is that I've essentially sacrificed myself. I'm at a place right now where I am solid from my previous work, and I am not consistent enough presently. Not consistent enough to be able to grow to accomplish my current goal. To be able to accomplish my current goal, which is to be able to beat a foreign player, to be able to beat a player that travels here, or travels all around, and I just happen to run into them early in bracket or late in bracket or whatever. I am not consistent enough to be able to make that happen. And I also don't know how to get to fight people close enough to that level of competition consistently in order to make that happen. Another person that made this glaringly clear to me is your ordinary hero. Your ordinary hero is a Reina player, and he got better through study and game time and he was studying the old Tekkens. He was doing a lot of stuff that was very NoelStryfe like in the past, just not to the same level of ferocity because he had virtually no offline presence. He went to, I believe, Frosty's, and I think he went to 2 locals, and I think maybe 3 locals total. And Tekken 8 has been out for what, 3 years? Like, it's not enough. It's not enough showing for me to compare his work ethic to mine or to my former work ethic. But it is definitely something to note because he definitely improved a lot. Definitely improved a lot, and I loved that. I was getting excited for him. But due to some circumstances in his life, he has separate ambition, and he is quitting as well. Quitting and I believe moving to Win, where New Jersey, I think. So but yeah. I'm saying this stuff to basically say that I've essentially sacrificed myself. And it's okay if I don't have a problem with it, right? It's okay if I don't have a problem with it. Like, if I'm okay with my level of Tekken or my level of play, forehead, he be calling. What are you telling me? You be cooking your best player? Even though you're in there, yeah, forehead, he be calling, yeah. No, that's all good. That's all that you supposed to. The more you cook him, the less he gets cooked by law. So like, I don't know, online victories, that's homework. That's all homework. It's kind of hard to take a lot of stuff from it. Maybe you can pick up some player weaknesses and stuff, maybe from online, but for the most part, it's all homework. And most people are not the same person when they go from online to offline. There are things that change. You are either more clutch, more nervous, you drop more things. There are things that it just happens because that's the spirit of competition in real life. You're not at home in your boxers, with your Dorito bag, playing the game in front of a camera and your own designed people that is going to support you and not put you, and not I guess be toxic or not add environmental sounds that could distract you, or a crowd noise where you got hit by a counter hit and you hear ooh loud as fuck, in the background, and you have to stay focused on the task at hand, or the toxic stuff not toxic stuff, the randomness that might occur, like side switches that are unintended that throw you off from a combo. Do you understand in that moment how to take advantage of that situation, or do you get blown up because of the scramble? You don't know any of this shit until you play offline. You just don't know. You have no clue. You have no clue how you respond. It's so, and it's okay. It's not, nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's just that building your strength online is specifically so that you can try to be as consistent as possible offline. But yeah, man, good stuff. But yeah, man, it became very apparent to me that I don't like where I'm at in Tekken, and I don't know that I will be better. I don't know. I am spread a bit too thin. I'm spread a bit too thin, and I like it. I like it. Even with me having a fantastic job where I only work 28 hours a week, that gives me a lot of time. I have my lady I like spending time with and playing a game with. I have my high school friend group. We're all playing Grand Blue Reblink. It's basically Monster Hunter, but in anime form. I've got my work, the people I work with. I'm cool with a bunch of them. I've known them for years, so I play games with them, Dead by Daylight and Power World right now. I like that, and I'm spread too thin on time, is what I mean. You know, I try to work out. I only work out 2 or 3 days a week. I start strong. It's Monday. It's arm day. I'm ready. You know, complete arm day. It's Tuesday is leg day. I'm ready. Complete leg day. Wednesday is ab day. Let's hit it. You know, Thursday, break. Friday, back to arm. Nah, I ain't do shit. Friday. Saturday, oh shit, we back on leg. I ain't do shit. Sunday, back on abs. Nah, I ain't do nothing. Like, and I just been repeating that process because mentally I'm spread too thin, and my value that I place on fun is higher than my value on some of my aspirations, like being able to work out consistently, you know, or being able to get steadily better at Tekken. And unless I rearrange those things, I will just be a player of sacrifice. Very much so like Clive Rossfield. Very much so. If you guys don't know, at the end of Clive's game, Clive sacrifices himself in order for everyone else to be able to live. After doing so many great things, you know, and helping and, you know, helping and being a hero and being great to so many different people and building quite a name for himself under the alias of Sid, you know, rescuing his brother and all of that. And I feel that, not to hyper compare myself to the character I'm using, but like, that's just reality. So in conclusion, I'm not sure if I'll change from here on out. I don't think that I want to go back to playing the game, playing Tekken so much more, you know? Like, I don't know. It seems like a bit of an insurmountable task, and not because I'm afraid of the task, because there are other things I enjoy. Other things I enjoy. I'm not gonna quit. Like, I love Tekken. I love fighting games. I love the environment. I love the people. You know, y'all the homies and shit. You know. Also, I got another friend circle with Cool Nerd. You know, another friend circle with Cool Nerd. Cool Nerd is like carved out his own, a bit of his own friend circle in my life, and I think it's really cool. I think it's super cool. I'm a big fan of that. I was talking about that a couple days ago, actually, with Melody. But yeah, man, I'm NoelStryfe. Hashtag spread too thin. What do I do? Stay the same or make change?